All right, so thank you for joining us on session 3 about apprenticeships. My name is Kathy Wicks and I work at the district office and I have a dual role. I'm a partnership manager and I also am a program supervisor for the apprenticeship program. And I'd like to, if I can get my screen to go, I'm just going to have each one of our presenters just do a quick introduction of themselves, and then I have a brief slideshow presentation, and then from there we're going to do a Q&A with the panelists who are introducing themselves. So John, will you go first, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm John Piper. I currently teach the manufacturing pathway at Elk Grove High School. I actually have another role at Elk Grove as well, whereas I work with Kathy to place Elk Grove students specifically in apprenticeships. We kind of started that a year or two ago, and we work with Kathy. I'm the specific point person for Elk Grove High School for our apprenticeship and internship programs. So that's what I do. That's who I am.
Ms. Ashita?
Linda can't unmute herself.
Oh,
Kathy.
no. Okay. I don't know how that happened.
There we go. There we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Linda Ashita, and I am a project manager in our community engagement and outreach department, and I facilitate all of the communications work that our department does for the schools and the Education Foundation and community and adult education. And I, in that role, have had the great fortune to serve as a host for interns and apprentices, and currently hosting a multimedia apprentice.
Thank you. Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan Sanahan. I'm actually an athletic training apprentice over at Elk Grove High School.
Wonderful. Thanks, Morgan. Okay, let's go on with the show, as we say. If I can get this going, here we go. All right, so the district started the apprenticeship program. We're in our 3rd year, and I just wanted to share a little bit about what an apprenticeship is, and not to overwhelm you though, because it's a really amazing program. There's lots of moving parts to it. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go over what this means. So an apprenticeship is really a culmination for students who are seniors who have taken several pathway courses that align with the current apprenticeship opportunities we have in the district. And this is an application program, and the application opens junior years when we start recruiting right about this time, and we recruit through January, and then we have an interview process, and we match students with employer partners. Some of those partners are external throughout our communities across the district, and District 214 is also an employer. And really, this program is a capstone for students who know what career path they want. They've taken several pathway courses, and this is really the culminating experience, and it's an earn and learn to help them jumpstart their career and or their post-secondary goals, which may include college, or it may include, again, just going directly into their career. And the apprenticeship also contains something called related technical instruction, which is often dual credit courses that the student takes, and they receive college credit while they're high school students, which is also really incredible. We also offer industry credentials to our apprentices as well. So it's a very robust program, and again, any student who has been in the pathway is welcome to apply for that. Transportation is never a barrier here at District 214, so we always encourage all students to apply for the program, regardless of whether or not they can drive to and from work. We'll figure a way for them to gain access to this. And again, this is a program to help students earn and learn. It was created mostly out of the internship program, which is an unpaid experience. And this experience, we wanted students who couldn't access internship because they had to work. We wanted to open that door and allow them to have release time during their school day in their senior year to work at their employer and gain that on-the-job skills training. So that's an apprentice in a nutshell, I would say. So the apprentices senior year have a very different schedule than their peers because they have some release time to work. So this is just a sample. Again, we're on block schedule this year. So they'll be typically enrolled in a dual credit, so college level English and math, then a dual credit related to their internship. So for manufacturing, that could be college advanced machining or manufacturing CNC. For athletic training, Morgan's going to talk a little bit about her class that she's in for dual credit. So that might all take place on A days, kind of an academic day, and then B day may be a release day for them to work at their employer and again be earning a wage and gaining those skills related to their career field. I want to play two short clips for you on some apprentices that were in our program last year. The first is an automotive apprentice, Brian Huerta. So hopefully YouTube link will cooperate with me. Give it a second to load here. All right, got that to play. Sometimes the hardest part is now getting out of YouTube. So yes, we have another clip. We have besides athletic training and automotive, we have cybersecurity apprenticeships. And also, so this is Bethany, and she was a cybersecurity apprentice last year. Uh-oh. So I was just told there's no video. Thanks for telling me that in the chat. I don't know why, because I can hear it. So I'm not sure what happened. Did you hear any of them? Either of them? Neither of them. Oh, no.
No. If you could maybe try and put I was looking for the links, you could put them in the chat so people could go watch them on their own after.
Okay, I will do that before this is over. Okay, so I won't recap too much of that, but really what they're trying to get across, and Morgan will be able to get this across, is that this opportunity is really unique and helps the students really connect to our business partners and get this real world experience while in high school to determine what their next steps are post-secondary. Here, get out of this one. Okay. All right, so hang on a second here. All right, so I'm going to come back over here to our slide deck, and I'm going to just facilitate some questions for our panelists. This is not, and I'm going to start back over here just so you know who's talking. Okay, so we have a few panelists here that introduced themselves earlier. I'm just going to I'm going to throw out a couple of questions to them because their experience in their various roles will really kind of give you a better feel for what the apprenticeship program is. So I'm going to start with Morgan. Can you describe why you applied for the apprenticeship in athletic training? I'm unmuting you.
Got it. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yep. Why did you apply for the apprenticeship program in athletic training, and how did you hear about it?
So I actually first discovered that our school had an athletic training student aid program my freshman year. And then I'm a senior now, and I've been doing that all throughout high school. And then end of my junior year, our head athletic trainer actually informed me that, hey, there's an apprenticeship program. They have a new AT section. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I was like, well, obviously, what would this entail? So then I was put in touch with Miss Wicks, and I'm now taking college classes as well as participating in this paid internship or apprenticeship with what I've been doing as an athletic training student aide, except this is now broadened my scope of practice.
Thank you so much. Okay, Ms. Ashita, so you are a host of an apprentice in multimedia. Can you describe what a typical day or week might look like? What projects that your apprentice might be involved in?
Sure. Just to give you an idea of the scope of work in our department, we really manage a mix of communication projects that are long range campaigns that are planned out. We actually have a year plan, and then we plan month by month, many weeks in advance. And then we have really just the spontaneous things that come up. It might be crisis communication, there might be a lockdown, and maybe we facilitate, that kind of a communication, support that. Or media might have inquiries through our department. And so you can have a week planned out, and then a mix of those spontaneous projects that come up, and you just have to react and respond to. So for our apprentices, what I love about that is it creates quite a variety in any given week, where the apprentice, we can learn about the interests and along the criteria that the apprentices have to meet across the apprenticeship. We can align projects that relate to their interests that are long range, and we can support them across the way. And then on any given day, there might be just spontaneous projects that come up. And so an example is there's a therapy dog training program at Rolling Meadows High School. And so many of our apprentices, many weeks ago, we talked to her about this project, and she expressed interest. So we helped train her in how to prepare, craft questions, make contacts with the teachers at Rolling Meadows High School, how to prepare and learn the filming, the pre-production pieces, to prepare the filming. And then she will this week film and then edit that video. So that's one of her long range projects. And then following that, she'll write an article for that piece and then post that on our website and social media. So across the scope of that pre-planned project, she touches on many of the criteria for the multimedia pathway apprenticeship. And then at the same time, one day she was working on one of those projects, on that particular project, and there was a media inquiry. And she was able to shadow our communications coordinator on a media interview, and then actually go on site to Prospect High School and support our communications coordinator in filming a media package that was sent to the media stations, the TV stations, and was aired on the news. And she actually had a hand in producing that piece with our communications coordinator. So it's just really, a day in the life is a wonderful variety of some spontaneous and long range projects.
Sounds very dynamic.
It is. And what I especially like too is the apprentices, and I think maybe I can imagine Morgan can speak to this too, they really become team members. And so certainly they're learning skills from us as hosts, but it's a real collaborative environment, and we learn so much and are inspired by the apprentices themselves.
Thank you so much. Mr. Piper, I'd like to ask you a little bit about manufacturing, the pathway that a student might take to become interested in a manufacturing apprenticeship, and what type of student is successful as an apprentice.
Yeah, absolutely. So within, I'll give a kind of general overview of a lot of our kind of pathway type steps. Typically, within each pathway, there's like an introductory type course, which typically we call like a year one course, or, it really scratches the surface a little bit of everything. And in manufacturing, that would actually be advanced machine technology. I can talk to graphic arts, that would just be intro to graphics. Autos would be auto systems. So there's always like an introductory type course within a career pathway. And then once students get through that, ideally we like them to be in that introductory course their freshman or sophomore year. So then what they can do their junior year is they can get into either the second year course or a tandem course. For example, like in manufacturing, it would be advanced machine CNC, or computer integrated manufacturing. Autos, it would be your diagnostic to automotive diagnostic. Graphic arts would be advanced graphics. So each one of our pathways has, it builds as students go through their years in school, as well as the different classes that they take. And then what we get to their senior year would be a capstone, which would be an apprenticeship program or apprenticeship class. I know at Elk Grove, we kind of actually have a class for our apprentices that are specifically placed within manufacturing, graphic arts, and automotive. And what I do in that class is I work with them, talk about interview skills. We develop their resume. This year I actually had some companies Zoom in and talk to my students. Because what we've noticed in manufacturing, at least in Elk Grove, because we do have one of the biggest manufacturing parks in the nation, is that there's a lot of need for students to get into these different types of trades. And it's not really like the old school manufacturing, 1920s industrial. They are high tech, they're clean. And a lot of these companies are just begging for students to come in and see and work and train in their facility. And that's really what we try and do both at Elk Grove and at the district level is, to expose students to kind of help them decide what they maybe want to do. The nice thing about getting into a program, a career pathway like this is you could find out early on that you thought you want to do something, but you really don't. And that's what's so great about these career pathways and these different opportunities that we offer is instead of, getting out of high school and not really sure what you want to do or you think you want to do, you're not going to waste a whole lot of time after high school. You can kind of jump right into these different experiences, which is very unique to our district. And I think that that's a huge plus with all these different career pathways that we have. And not to mention, you're not in school. And for the most part, you're getting paid while you're actually learning. And at your placement, I can talk about that as well, because I actually have now 5 students that are under my watch, technically, at different placements. And one of the big things that we all push is when you're there, you're still a student and you're not just kind of like manual labor. You're learning, you want to learn. These companies want to teach you what their end goal is. And what our end goal is specifically to get you trained to be ready to jump right into that company full time after the school year is over. So what a better way to kind of end your senior year, knowing that you're at a company or a placement that's really going to take you places. And a lot of these companies, especially specific to manufacturing, more trades type companies, is they're going to want to keep you around, but they're also going to want to help you become more educated and develop more skills. So they will actually pay a lot of times for you to go to, different training programs, go take classes at Harper. I recently had a student that graduated 4 years ago who just finished up his machine maintenance program at Elgin Community College. He didn't pay a dime for it. He actually got money to go to school on days, and they bought him a computer. So that was kind of something that was right before we started our apprenticeship program, but he kind of knew like of what can happen if you follow career pathway. He was a life manufacturing kid. He took all the classes down by us, and that's really what kind of got us thinking, at least Elk Grove, like, hey, we need to build on this and get these kids out their senior year so they can get real world experience.
That's awesome. You can see how passionate Mr. Piper is about this program. I'd like to kind of continue on with the academic side and the pathway conversation and ask Morgan, what coursework have you taken, and how has this apprenticeship helped either affirm or challenge your plans post-secondary?
Yeah, so I have taken all of the health career pathway courses. I started my freshman year in Intro to Health. Then my sophomore year, I took midterm, and junior year, I completed the CNA course and the practical side of that as well, not just the theory class. So I'm a licensed CNA after passing that exam. And then this year, I am taking, it's got a long title. We all just call it sports med, but it's College Basic Care and Prevention of Athletic Injuries over at Hersey High School. So I take that on my B days. And then my other apprenticeship related course is College Advanced Strength and Conditioning, which is also dual credit through EIU. So my B days are all completely apprenticeship oriented, whereas my A days are like my electives and my core curriculum classes.
Wonderful. And do you think that you'll continue in this pathway post-secondary?
Oh, 100%. Being a part of this program has completely reaffirmed my interest in pursuing athletic training. I'm applying into direct admit programs for athletic training. I've got a plan if I don't go direct admit where I'm going to major with a bachelor's in either kinesiology or exercise physiology, and then hopefully transfer to a graduate program for a master's of science in athletic training.
That sounds like a very solid plan and very impressive. So some of you may be thinking, you know, what other things besides manufacturing and multimedia and athletic training, what other apprenticeships are out there? So I'm sharing my screen right now. Hopefully you can see this slide of all the various opportunities we have for apprenticeships as capstone opportunities for seniors. Again, this recruiting process takes place at junior year. These apprenticeships range in on-the-job training hours, the requirements anywhere from 450 paid on-the-job training hours all the way up to 1,200 on-the-job training hours for our registered DOL apprenticeships in information technology. You also heard Morgan talk a little bit about our CNA course that's offered to juniors as well. And then there's a CNA apprenticeship. We have the ability to place students out in the community to work at our partners who are really, again, John had mentioned this, have a workforce need for talent. And it's incredible that the district provides these opportunities and prepares our students at a high school age for the opportunities that are out there to serve our community. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Kathy, can I jump in real quick?
Yep.
Just to build on that? One of the companies I'm working with, specifically Acme Industries, offered one of my students $15 an hour, and after 90 days he gets a $500 bonus. And that's still through an apprenticeship program. And they have a little bit different schedule. He actually takes 2 classes each morning, and then in the afternoon he goes over and works from 12:30 to 4:30. So that's just another kind of outlook on what a schedule may look like for a student as well. So
right. Yeah, for sure. And speaking of schedule, the schedule that I shared with you is really very basic, but all of these apprenticeships have so many different components with the dual credit, the related technical instruction, the needs of how many hours of OJT. So the counselors in the school and myself and other staff members who are part of this program are really customizing each schedule of the apprentice. So it really does depend on what type of apprenticeship you're in and what your schedule looks like. I know for Morgan, a lot of her on the job training hours, because she's in athletic training, are after school. That's when sports are. And so her academic schedule hasn't really changed as much as some of the others. So it really is a customized program and a really fantastic opportunity. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take a quick look in the chat. John, are you able to see any questions that have popped up?
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any questions in the chat right now. But if anyone wants to, please feel free to type them in the chat, specifically to myself, Kathy, Linda, or Morgan as well.
We'll wait a minute or two to see if we can field anything. I did share the links in the chat box for the automotive and cybersecurity clips. I apologize for those not being great on the audio. Hopefully you can take a few minutes to click on those. They're pretty telling. Okay, well, we thank you for joining us this evening. This recording will be posted at some point in time on the district website, as well as all of the sessions. So if you had trouble deciding what session you wanted to be in, you'll have a chance to go back and listen to the recordings and hear all about the other pathways. I want to thank our panelists for joining us this evening as well, for your time and your dedication and enthusiasm for the apprenticeship program. All right, everyone, have a great evening. Good night.